Hi there, long time no wrap up. I have now reached my Goodreads goal of reading 100 books this year. I have already raised my goal once. This is all thanks to 27 volumes of Full Metal Alchemist manga. I also count my comics there. So I have reached 100, and in this wrap up, I'm going to talk about books 21 to 23. I'm going to talk about a horror novella, a science fiction novel, and a superhero comic. And as always, there will be timestamps in the description if you want to jump in between different reviews. First, let's talk about The Lamb Will Slaughter the Lion by Margaret Killjoy. This is a horror novella from Tour.com, and it's the first in a series of novellas. And this is about Danielle Kane, who travels to this community of anarchists who have created this community of theirs in an abandoned town, and she is searching for clues about her best friend's suicide, but she is not prepared for the weirdness that she encounters in this community. There is this protector spirit of this place that a group of people, including her friend, summoned to this town. And it is this deer with 3 antlers who kills people who breach the peace. What I liked about this novella was the deer. The deer is such a great visual. It's always great when it made an appearance in the book. And I also love this cover, also featuring the deer. And apart from the deer, I also like the queer rep in the book. But I think that the atmosphere could have been pumped up. Like, I was expecting a bit more from the writing. There were some pretty great visual scenes, especially, like I said, when the deer showed up. Those were some great. They could have been more impactful, I mean. They've been even more atmospheric. And it left me wanting a bit more after I finished it, and I gave it 3 stars. Then I buddy read The Chrysalids by John Wyndham with Caitlin from Kitty G, and this is a science fiction book from the 50s, and it is about this post-apocalyptic community of highly religious people who are very concerned about the one true image of God, because there are mutations all over the country or all over the world. They're really concerned about people differing from the norm of, for example, having 5 fingers and 5 toes. And the main character is a kid, and he's part of this group of kids who have developed psychic abilities, so they can communicate with each other through distance, through telepathy, and they have to keep their abilities secret in order to survive. I picked this one up because I really enjoyed The Midwich Cuckoos by Wyndham, and I wanted to read more of his works. And I liked the atmosphere of this closed community and learning about the kids and their powers. And I also liked that the point of view was a kid, because then he didn't understand the reasons behind all of the adults' actions. But my interest waned a bit towards the end when the main character is older, when we leave the town behind, because I was much more interested in the town dynamic. And I do prefer the Midwich Cuckoos to this, because I think the Midwich Cuckoos does the small town thing very well. I gave this one 3.5 stars. I do enjoy John Wyndham's prose, and I have The Day of the Triffids from him to read next. And the superhero comic that I read was Runaways Battleworld by Noelle Stevenson and Sanford Greene, and this was part of the Battleworld event that was going on at Marvel at one point, which allowed creators to mix together characters from different teams and different comics and change them around a bit. And this is about a group of teens who attend the school that Dr. Doom is the headmistress of. And they found out that the school is up to no good, and they run away, hence the name Runaways. I picked this one up because I like the original Runaways comics, but there is only one character that is Molly from the original comics. But I did like that the cast was mixed up and that there were younger versions of these characters running around. There was young Bucky Barnes in this. There were also Cloak and Dagger in this, where I haven't read a lot about Cloak and Dagger, but I still would have liked a couple of more of the original Runaways cast members and not just Molly. So this basically just has the title and sort of the teen spirit of the original Runaways in it. But this ultimately felt a bit rushed. There just wasn't much room to work in such a short comic event. It's only a few issues, and this is the one collection from that. And I also wasn't the biggest fan of the art. It just isn't my favorite style at all. It's too loose for my liking, and I gave this one 3 stars. So those were the 3 books that I'm going to talk about now. I'm only going to talk about 3 because the next thing that I am going to do a wrap up for was all the short ones readathon. So I read a bunch of short stuff for that, so the next one will have more stuff in it. But that is my wrap up for today, and I will see you in my next video.